We're taking on a challenge this week as we are going to remake a horror classic adapted from one of my personal favorite authors and arguably the greatest horror author of all time, definitely our time. Mean roads, possessed cats, creepy kids, and terrifying sisters are all connected to some very, very sour ground. I personally love this book as much as you guys, so we're hoping to have some fun, but definitely want to do the book and the movie justice. If you haven't figured it out yet, we're taking on Stephen King's classic Pet Sematary, and it's time to remake this movie right. Hello, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. Listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on iTunes, where reviews are appreciated. Listen on your podcast app of choice, or just visit the website at remakethismovieright.com. Remake This Movie Right is a show that takes an original film that has an actual remake in the works, figures out what still clicks and what doesn't, throws a little bit of humor at it, and then we try to determine exactly how Hollywood should remake it. So by the end of each episode, we will have the remake ready to roll for Hollywood execs and presented to you in movie trailer form. We are here to tell Hollywood how to remake this movie right. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and joining me today are my fellow host, Brian Williams.
Hey, buddy, what's happening?
Not much, and coming back to us, if you remember her from the Mummy episode, Amanda Sink.
Good evening.
Good evening. Let's have some authority. Good evening, y'all.
Good evening.
That's awful. Just awful.
I'm not meant for this.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I'm not a voiceover.
You're not a voiceover artist like
No.
Wayne Henderson from
Nope.
MediaVoiceovers.com? How's that for subtle, huh? You like
That was very subtle.
Cut my check, Wayne. Cut my check.
Include me and I helped.
Well, for this episode of Remake This Movie Right, we are remaking the Stephen King classic Pet Sematary, or as I like to refer to it, No!
You're not a swimmer, are you?
No, I'm sure I'm not. Whew, that's exhausting. Poor Dale Midkiff, huh? He held that no for so long. So long.
You know, for years I thought that was Tim Daly.
I was telling Brian, and Pet Sematary, if you've never seen it, definitely go watch them. Well, I guess I should tell him what the movie is for people that don't know before we start getting waxing nostalgic about it. It was released April 21st, 1989. It made $57 million, which actually was quite a bit back then. And it centers around the Creed family. Having just moved to Maine, they find out that they live adjacent to an old Indian burial ground just beyond the pet cemetery. If you bury your own dead animal in the cemetery, it'll come back from the dead. After Louis Creed's son dies in a horrific truck accident, not really a car accident. In other words, he got smooshed by a truck. Our hero,
Knocked
Louis...
his shoes off.
He did. Got hit so hard, his shoes fell off. Man. Well, God, it's so horrible. After he basically tries to do this with a person and has disastrous results. In other words, his little boy comes back and starts cutting people on the ankle. Oh, so painful. Movie starred Fred Gwynne. You remember from the Munsters? Brian, you remember. Amanda, do you?
Oh, yeah.
I
you ever
do.
see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great
Others
show.
might remember him as, what's a Ute?
Oh, yeah. My Cousin Vinny. That's right. I forgot about that.
He was the judge. Yeah.
It also starred Dale Midkiff, who I thought at one point was going to be a big dramatic actor based on, because when I saw this as a kid, that performance, was really dramatic. And now that I look back at it, I'm like, that's really bad.
You're like, no.
Yeah, exactly. And Denise Crosby's also in this. The movie was directed by Mary Lambert. And a couple of fun trivia bits. We always do this when we talk about the movie we're remaking. You guys ready for some cool little fun tidbits?
Let's hear it.
Well, not only did King write the book, Pet Sematary it's based on, he also wrote the screenplay. I don't know if you guys noticed that when you were watching it, but he actually wrote the screenplay. He's actually gone on record that he's not a fan of the book. He actually called it terrible in terms of its dourness. He only released the book to fulfill his contract with Doubleday. So he just dropped it to get rid of it.
Didn't he even afterwards say that he still wouldn't have done it if he had an option at the time?
Yeah,
even looking back at it now, he's like, God, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And it was a huge seller, which boggles my mind, but whatever.
Well, I think one of the things he was talking about with that was he felt like it was just, these people just spiraling out of control where,
With no
just
hope.
with no redemption, really.
Yeah, he just didn't believe in it or something.
Yeah, because he's normally such a happy-go-lucky author. I mean, most of his books always end up on an upbeat level. Always end upbeat, yeah. All right, well, here's some fun trivia bits. There's the role of Zelda, who is the sister with spinal meningitis. Remember that?
I remember that crazy bitch.
Man. One of the creepiest ladies in movies.
Yeah. Okay, well, the little fact is Zelda was played by a man, baby. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yep. Did you not know that?
No, I would have not.
Did you know that, Brian?
Now that you say it sounds familiar, but no, probably forgot.
Director Mary Lambert wanted Zelda and her scenes to frighten the audience, but did not believe that a 13-year-old girl was scary, so she cast Andrew Hubatasek. I can't do names, man, but Andrew H. Andy H. in the role to make something be a little off about Zelda. I disagree, Mary. Go hang out with some 13-year-olds. They're scary as hell. She was wrong. The idea for the story Pet Sematary came about when Stephen King's daughter's cat, Smucky, was killed on the highway outside their home. Smucky's name actually appears on gravestones in the Pet Sematary in both the film and the novel. So that's a cool little fun fact.
That is cool. Good to know.
You guys don't seem excited by that.
No.
How about a little jazz? How about a little pumped up?
Hey, I mean, what do you want me to do? Cartwheels? Nobody can watch me doing that.
I'll wait. Yeah, do it. I want to hear it. I can hear it. I'm listening.
Yeah,
we're waiting for the crash.
Yeah.
During the film, the character played by Fred Gwynn mentions that he had a pet named Spot. Spot was also the name of the family pet on the TV show The Munsters, which Gwen also starred in, like we talked about. And lastly, this one shocks me. George Romero was originally set to direct, but when filming was delayed, he dropped out, and that's when Mary Lambert stepped in. George Romero, Mr. Night of the Living Dead, and all the other Living Dead movies. So that would have been an interesting...
That would have been pretty good, I think.
It would have been a lot deeper, that's for sure. Would have been less
more no.
Yes, more dour no's.
I don't know if that would have been any better.
Well, I think in the late 80s it might have been. I mean,
might have been.
Now, no, not at all. But back then, I think that could have carried some weight. But overall, still a good movie. I still like this movie. I think, Amanda, you had never seen it before, right?
Nope.
What did you think now that you watched it, fresh eyes, having never seen it before?
I love some of the comments that were made, especially by the daughter, who in the movie doesn't look like a girl at all. She definitely looks like a dude.
Okay.
well, she's got the voice of a dude that's been smoking for 80 years.
Pothead.
Pascal. Hey, Dad, where's church at? Let's go talk to Cage.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, let's talk about the original a little bit, but first, remember, if you have your own pitch for this remake or you have a better cast in mind, either one that you want to submit, make sure you email us at remakethismovieright@gmail.com. It's remakethismovieright@gmail.com, and we'll read the best pitches or casting on our next teaser episode. So let's get into Pet Sematary. Let's start with a little clip.
What is this place?
This was their burial ground.
Whose burial ground?
Micmac Indians. I brought you here to bury Ellen's cat. Each buries his own. The soil of a man's heart, Lewis, is stonier.
Has anyone ever buried a person up there?
Christ on his throne, no. Whoever would.
Lewis, that's who would.
That crazy bit.
He doesn't learn. Okay, like we always do, we like to talk about the original before we get into our remake. Just to kind of talk about what we love about the original, what doesn't work anymore, and some other things. And even if it should be remade at all. So first, let's talk about the original. Let's talk about the positive stuff. What about this movie do you love, Brian? What about it? Favorite moments, personal memories, casting you loved, whatever you loved about this movie, what was it?
It carried a little bit more nostalgia for me than I remembered. There were some scenes that I had forgotten about that once they were getting close to, I kind of got excited for. One of them is really kind of a small scene, but it's towards the end there is where Dale Midkiff, he rolls out of bed and smashes his head on the corner of the nightstand, which still makes me cringe.
Yeah. Ow. Ow.
Because it looks, I mean, as far as I know, that's real. That's not. That's,
He actually took a nap and recorded.
And he was late for casting.
He actually took the corner of the nightstand to his temple there. I still just go, ooh.
It sure looked like it. It sure looked like a concussion. He was concussed.
But there was a lot of things that I like. The sister with spinal meningitis still creeps me out.
Mm-hmm.
Gage, once Gage comes back, and his voice is still very, very eerie and creepy. A lot of this still works now. Some of it did. Fred Gwynn's
Judd?
Snidely Whiplash voice sound like something, I don't know, or it's almost like a Jimmy Cagney movie or something.
Well, he's in Maine. It's a Maine accent. It's a northeastern accent.
I know. It's just a little funny.
Where you parked the car, eh?
Well, hey, they got to look out for the trucks coming over the hill, you see.
That's a mean road, see? That's a mean road.
They never slow down. But yeah, it was one of those things that I probably haven't watched this movie, I know, in at least 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I didn't realize it. Once I got to think about the last time I've seen this movie, it has been a really, really long time. And so there was definitely some good nostalgia moments there.
What about you, Amanda? What'd you love?
Well, since I just saw it a few nights, well, not even a few nights ago. It was like last night.
Just like, wait till the last second.
It wasn't even 12 hours ago.
Oh, yeah.
24
I
hours
was
ago.
doing that remake show. I should probably watch the movie I'm going to be talking about.
I got there was such a huge shock factor when the little boy got hit by the semi. My heart stopped. It went into my stomach. I was like, holy crap.
Oh, because you didn't know that was coming.
I didn't know. I didn't expect it to actually. Like, I saw that, he's going towards the road. Stop the little boy. But I didn't expect him to go smack, and there goes his shoe. But the sister was really creepy to me. She freaked me out. I don't get freaked out much, but she was just. Or I'm sorry, Andy H.
Yeah.
It was just freaking weird.
Andy H. did a
Just
great job
creepy.
playing a girl that's creepy and had spinal
Yeah.
meningitis. Yeah.
And even in this HD world that we were watching these movies that were not filmed in HD, the makeup still worked.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Agreed.
What I definitely loved, not that the kid actually gets hit by the truck. I don't love that. It sounds horrible. But
Right.
I read the book, so I knew the book, and I remember the kid dying, and I really didn't think they were going to do it in the movie. So that, to me at that time, because they didn't kill kids in movies. I mean, you just don't kill kids in movies.
It's risky.
Not unless he has cancer and he's going for an Oscar. That's the only time kids
right.
die in movies. And this poor little kid, he just gets smacked by a truck and knocked, however far, and apparently is in pristine condition when he gets hit by this giant
He's
semi.
got a couple cuts.
Because when he comes back, he's like, I got a little scar on my forehead, but Dad, I'm good.
Hey, they got some really good beauticians up there in Maine.
They sure do. I really like that. I like when you actually get to the Indian burial ground. I think that's a really nice shot.
The first shot of it.
No, when they show the actual Indian burial ground, where he climbs over and you're in this big landscape and you actually see it all drawn out, the Micmac Indian burial ground. I think that's a really beautiful shot. There's definitely some cool things. Nostalgia. I love the ending, but I love the ending in the book better because it's a little bit more subtle. I think in the book, like she just puts her hand on his shoulder or something and says "darling," and that's it. It's the end of the book. If I remember right, it's been a long time. But that sort of thing I love. There's definitely, it's still a good movie. It's just a dated movie. It's dated. What about what no longer works for you? What Amanda, you're the freshest eyes. What doesn't work for you anymore?
I liked most of the movie, to be honest with you, especially some of the lines that were said that kind of just took me back and had me laughing pretty loud. But I would say probably some of the acting could be worked on for a remake.
Could be.
Could definitely be worked on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice. I did like the movie a lot, though, even though the acting, I mean, back then the acting probably was good, though. Like, that was probably seen as, oh, okay, this is nice.
It was very dramatic at the time.
Yeah. Now it's like, I've seen better.
Now it's on Siffy. That's Siffy acting right there.
Sippy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's some sippy acting going on. But except for Fred Gwynn. I think Fred Gwynn was great. And Brian doesn't like his accent. I like his accent.
His accent weirded me out too.
I like his I like that. He's a creepy
Yeah,
old guy.
I thought the actor himself was. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
It was just the accent is just.
Weird.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian? What doesn't work for you? Watching this in hindsight.
Wow, really not much. Really, I'll be honest. I mean, I guess because I looked at it with that notion of, well, this was almost 30 years ago, and even still, it, like I said, a lot of the stuff. I guess there was so much that I know that I was just kind of looking at it probably a little bit more positively for a change, because I usually focus on the negative stuff. But
Negative Nancy.
yeah, exactly. So, but I was just really blown away by a lot of the practical effects that I really, of course.
Except for that blue light. That shining blue light that
Yeah,
illuminates.
I'll tell you
It's
the one
bad.
thing. The one thing that stood out to me that didn't work was, okay, he knows nothing really about what's back there in the woods. He knows there's a little trail going back there, and all of a sudden, Paxcal pops up and says, "Hey, look over yonder. Don't go over there. I'm telling you, don't go in those bushes.
There's an
It's
idiot in
really
every
bad."
movie.
Heads up, guys! Don't do it. It's bad. And even
I'm really not. Yeah. Like I'm. I might have taken a walk, but I'm, probably not going to go past that big bundle of sticks because I don't feel like climbing over them
Mm-hmm.
for the
And
next.
He remembered
2
that
hours.
pathway too to get back there because he did it a couple times.
Yeah, he did it like 3 times in the movie.
He went one time with the guy,
He
and
should have put a zip line in if you think about it. And he just went from the house straight to the burial ground.
get the whole family to come back.
Hindsight, what I didn't like was the changes from the book that I noticed even more now. I didn't really notice them at the time, but there are a lot of changes. The Wendigo was the biggest one because it's really not prominent. And for people that never read the book, the Wendigo is kind of like this demonic presence, I guess, so to speak, that causes the events, kind of not necessarily forces them, but puts the things in motion that leads Lewis down his path, so to speak. And
It's like the Final Destination demon.
yeah, to a degree, yeah, it's to a degree, yeah. So it's really a very prominent portion of the book, and that was really missing for me. I think they allude to it a couple times, but they don't really.
They don't explain it.
No, they don't explain
Definitely
it.
not.
And Lewis is completely different in the book than he was in the movie. In the movie, he's just like everyday dad who just was really sad. But like in the book, he's really obsessive about Gage, and he's not a. He's kind of selfish to a degree, and he just.
I mean, he's pretty selfish in the movie too, if you think about what he did.
Well, I mean, he wanted to bring his son back. I mean, who would want to bring their kid back from the dead? You know.
After I saw that cat, I wouldn't. Stay down there.
See,
Have
that,
some-
that was hard for me.
Have some
'cause-
cat just dropped a dead rat in my bathtub. I'm not.
You ruined my bath, dang it.
I might be rethinking that strategy.
Yeah, I'd do more than kick that cat out of my bathroom too. By the way, let's see how many lives you got left. Let's try it. I think we'd be done.
Let's
at
run
3.
him out.
Let's run him out right now. Just throw you on the highway and duct tape you. God, somebody's gonna write a letter over that. That thing, and also the element. I really didn't feel like rewatching it. I think I did when I saw it originally, but I also think I was fresh off the book. So because I literally read the book and then went and saw the movie, right?
Okay.
So I think at the time, the book's explanation of death and how heavy it was a lot stronger with me. Where in the movie, it feels more like it's just a movie. Like the deaths they suck, but they don't really weigh on you a whole lot. Where in the book, those deaths were really heavy. I mean, you felt the weight of them, and a lot of that I'm a huge King fan, so I just like the way he writes. But when Gage died, it just felt you understood why he felt like he had to do that. Like he just had to have his son back, and
Well, he probably felt guilty. I mean,
guilty, and it's his son. He doesn't want he wants his son back. That's my pride and joy. He's the extension of himself. There's a lot of
hope
that.
he'll come back all right, better than the kitty cat.
Yeah, I mean he's a little fresher, so there was that.
A little fresh.
A little fresher. Kind of the theory behind sticking mom out there, and he's just determined that if he keeps doing it, he can get it right. And
Third time wasn't
yeah,
the charm.
no, he had. I just really wish that part of that's a big part of the book that I thought was missing. And also the dead messing with the living, which, you know, and that's really, I'm really rusty on, but like the dead were, like in the book, Judd had a wife. I can't remember what her name was. Norma, or I think Norma.
Sounds like a weird old lady name from Maine.
He had a wife.
It sounds like her name could be Norma.
Yeah, her name is Norma. See? And Norma was the wife, and basically that's how everything started. Because if I'm trying to remember right, I'm sure somebody out there listening will be happy to correct me. Basically, what happens is Judd's wife has a heart attack, and Lewis saves her because he's a doctor. And that's why Judd feels obligated to help him with the cat, because he wants to repay the debt for saving his wife. And, you know, and then that sort of thing happens. And then when Gage comes back, I want to say, I mean, Gage knows stuff about Judd and his wife and their marriage, and
that only dead people would know.
Yeah, it's kind of messes with people, and I really missed that element of it. That was a really cool element in the book that's not even part of the movie. Sounds kind of creepy.
I wish they would have added.
But yeah, because they knew secrets, the demon or whatever that's actually possessing Gage, and you know, so that's the stuff that I didn't like. Anything else you guys want to talk about that you didn't like? All right, should the movie be remade? Like, is it ready to be remade for today's audiences?
I feel like it is. I feel like there's not too much that would restrict it from being remade.
Brian, what about you? You said you watched it and you're like, yeah, it's still a good movie. Do you think it should be remade? Because I'm all about remake this thing.
As far in a vacuum, absolutely. I just feel that in this world that we live in with zombie saturation, it may not do as well as it might have done if it was done 10 years ago.
But if they make it more demonic rather than zombie-like, I think it'll pull off better.
Absolutely. If they rely more on this dead carcass is actually being possessed by some supernatural being, then it's, you know, and it's not really the kid or something, or the wife or whoever, or the cat, then sure.
Because in the movie, they kind of make it feel like it's the kid is just coming back wrong and the cat's coming back wrong rather than something's possessing them.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like the death changed them the whole...
Yeah, just like they came back all grouchy because you woke them up.
Yeah.
That's not how it was in the book. That's a big... Which surprises me because King wrote the screenplay. It's almost like he didn't like his own idea. Like, that's too hard to figure out how to write. So I
mean, it didn't sound like he had a whole lot of enthusiasm for it for the book. I can't imagine he would have a ton for a movie.
He wrote the screenplay. I know,
but I mean, maybe he just didn't care. He's like, I'll get some money out of it, I suppose.
You don't talk that way about Stephen King.
Just kidding.
You do not. You watch your mouth.
Blasphemy.
Get off this microphone. Shame on
you.
He
did make the I did read the quote that he said, you know, with basically the only reason he got the acting job or the directing job for that one time was because he's Stephen King. He says, you get famous enough, people let you do whatever you want.
That's a cool life, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
What are we going to do? Yeah, must be, exactly. All right, well, you guys ready to talk about a remake?
Bring it on.
All right, let's get to it.
My sister died in the back bedroom, and that's what she was. A dirty secret. I had to feed her sometimes. I hated it. But I did it. We wanted her to die. We wished for her to be dead. It wasn't just so she wouldn't feel any more pain. It was so we wouldn't feel any more pain. It was because she started to look like this monster. Even now, I wake up and I think, is Zelda dead yet? Is she?
Ooh, that's horrible.
It is pretty terrible. And then he just hugs her like everything's all right.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't just say that you are happy somebody's dead or anything.
Yeah, you weren't
Your
just
family.
super creepy wife that I love for everything that you do. Man.
Great, I married a horrible person.
Yeah, an absolute nightmare of a person. But honestly, we all wanted her to die too, because she just creeped me out.
I felt bad for her at first before she started getting really creepy. I felt bad for her because I was like, oh, I want to like help her and take care of her and make her feel better.
Then she got really sick and you're like, I
then-
can't support you anymore.
No, then she was like,
running
her
across the
head
room
was,
at you, and you start backing up out of the couch.
when your head starts to do that little tilt thing, like, I'm out. Count me out. I'm running.
I'm done helping you.
Help
Time
yourself.
to call hospice. Oh, yeah. I ain't dealing with this anymore.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, well, our remake. Here's what we know about the official remake it's actually intended as of right now. Director Juan Carlos Fernandilla. I hope I got that right.
In boo.
You probably got it wrong.
I'm sure I got it wrong, but he helmed the extremely excellent 2007 sequel 28 Weeks Later. So there you go, if that gives you an idea. It was a really good sequel. And screenwriter Jeff Buhler, who did Midnight Meat Train, which about 8 people saw, but it's actually a good movie. Got Bradley Cooper. Check it out. They're basically helming this one, and one quote that Juan Carlos has said is that with this one, we really wanted to get into the emotional aspects of it. There's still plenty of visceral horror that's explored, but I've always felt that if you lean more into the characters and into their emotional lives, when the visceral crap hits the fan, it's 10 times more scary. Yeah.
I agree.
So look, get on that, man. When's the remake coming out? Let's go. So we don't have any other information on that remake yet, but we do have our remake, so let's get to it. It's time to remake this movie right. Now, we do have to preface that everybody gets a cut. In case you've never listened to our show, each one of the hosts gets one cut. If they don't like an idea, the rest of us are pitching because ideas are decided the best of 3. So if 2 people decide on something, they agree on something, then that is the way it goes. We move on. If one of our hosts says, no, you want my idea,
No.
you say cut, and it's their idea. We have to go with whatever their idea is. Got it? Mandy, got it?
I got it.
Brian, you got it?
Can you go through that again?
All right, well, see, we each get a cut.
Just kidding.
Oh,
I got it.
Oh, those are jokes. I got you. Jokes. Okay, well, on the nostalgia scale, which is basically we determine how many nostalgic moments our remake needs. These are 3 moments that we all collectively agreed upon, and we came up with 3. On the scale of 1 to 3, Pet Sematary is about a 3 in the classic scale. So it's semi-classic. Not quite the biggest of the big, but it's in there. And the 3 things that we came up with, we got to have an obscure horror TV actor to play one of the roles of Jed. And we have to have a creepy sister, still has to have a creepy sister, and sometimes dead is better. The quote, sometimes dead is better, has to be in our movie. I think you can pretty much put that anywhere. So that one's not too worried. We just got to remember the creepy sister. And that irritated me because that would have been the first thing I kicked out. But because these were our nostalgic moments, that has to stay in to a degree. So it really irritated me because I would have cut that sister out like that.
Why? Why'd you want to cut her out so bad?
I don't know why. For me, it just doesn't do as much for me. But I think in the scope of things, it probably explains our Rachel's state of mind a little better. So that's good. Let's get into it. Brian, what do you got some ideas on how to modernize this? How would you change it? Different location, concept, anything? What do you wish they had done in the original that we can do now in the remake? What do you got? You started off.
All right. How about this is a really difficult one to do because if you can't change too much about it because of the book.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the friendly neighbor, Judd, is actually some sort of guardian or defender type of character,
like a Marvel Avenger?
Think like have you watched any of The Strain?
I started to. It's an awful show. I don't like it at all.
Okay.
It's a strain to watch it.
Of the old guy that knows that these things are vampires and stuff. You know, he knows what's back there. Let's say the characters that return, whether it's an animal or person, they know he's a threat. They know that he knows, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to take him out. Maybe he wins 1 or 2 battles. Maybe he dies. I don't know.
So he's the first one that they go after rather than their family.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he's at their house for dinner or something, and the dead cat comes back and maybe goes after him. You know, and we kind of see that, hey, maybe Church isn't such a lovable, fluffy gray cat after all. You know, maybe he's a vicious demon feline that goes after Judd.
Well, first of all, how would Lewis have even known about the pet cemetery if that guy doesn't tell him? Because if he's a guardian, why the hell would he tell him?
Well, maybe he stumbles across it. You know,
He stumbles across it.
He follows the path or something, and then the dead guy shows him.
Yeah, one reason or another, he stumbles across it. He's walking through the path. Storm comes through. Maybe it knocked that giant wood pile.
Well, Pascal could still show him if you wanted to go that route.
Okay, I'm not cutting you, Brian. I'm cutting an idea before it comes up. How's that? And it's gonna tick off some book readers. You ready?
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, ...
Yeah, well, because
we are. Yeah, me and Amanda are looking at each other right now.
We are. I can see into your eyes right now, Brian.
Exactly, and we are both that look
We're
in
just
my eye is the
confused.
same look in her eyes, and it's both confusion.
Well, she just brought up Pascal, and I want to use my cut to excise Pascal from the script.
Okay, tell me more.
I don't want Pascal in the movie because I thought. Now, I'm not saying in the book that there wasn't definitely a little bit more to it, but for me, it's always been a character. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work on screen. It's too hard to explain. You really don't get a connection as to why the hell he's even there. Other than, well, you tried to save me, so I'm trying to save you, basically. But it just never came across. It just always felt like this is taken away from the story I care about.
I see your point. To me, he just kind of seems like he kind of comes across as the most human out of anybody.
But he also throws in that supernatural feel, that supernatural element, because in the original one they didn't really go into the whole demonic part of it really. So he's actually like the first part that made me realize, other than like, let's bury people and hope they come back, but he's the first human element that kind of brings in the supernatural. But I mean, it's a cut, so it's a cut.
It's a cut, but I'm trying to explain why, because I know there's book readers, including myself. I'm a book reader. I love the book. I just don't think it works on film, and it's too hard to explain, and you've got too many other things I would rather the movie focused on, like the impact of death, the actual Indian burial ground. I would like the Wendigo to be a part of it, these sort of things. And that's a character and since I can't use it on the creepy sister, I want to use it on Pascal. I want him gone.
Well, he's gone. We don't have any say-so.
Now you could find another human character that makes more sense to relate it to. Maybe somebody.
So what if Judd's the one he's the first one gone, and he comes back as the ghost to help him and say, hey, don't do this anymore. Like, don't, like the cat dies or whatever, and he ends up finding a little burial and buries the cat. The cat comes back, kills Judd because Judd wasn't going to tell him about it.
Well, let's get some more. Let's go back to Brian. I just had to throw it in there before I forgot because I wanted that. I would have felt bad if I ended up. You guys went on a big Pascal story or something. Pascal, whatever, however you say his name.
Pascal.
Thank you, Pascal. And
I can't say it without saying it like the little smoky girl.
I know, right? I was trying to cut it off before anybody actually got offended. There you go. And since you mentioned him, it really brought it up to me.
All right.
Quick. Okay, Brian, let's go back to your idea with the Guardian thing. I don't know if I love that one. Honestly, I'm trying to get an understanding as to how that works because I really like having the guy across the street that's just a regular, normal old Joe. What's your theory? I mean, where are you going to take
Yeah, but this is a regular old Joe that just happens to know there's some zombie creating burial ground in the 100 yards behind the house.
If you want him to be the good guy, why don't you, like I was kind of saying, he ends up being, the cat dies, the cat comes back and attacks Judd. That's the first one that he takes out, but then he comes back as a ghost, kind of like Pascal was.
The cat takes Judd out?
Yeah. Claws is, I don't know, something. I don't know the veins. Do I look like a nurse to you?
Wow.
Anyway, takes him out, and he comes back in ghost form to warn him not to do anything else. Like, your cat wasn't just being a crazy cat. Your cat was because you buried it, and it's coming back as a demon. Don't do it anymore. You see what I'm saying?
That would make
to
more
replace
sense
Pascal?
to me. That would make more sense to me than Pascal. Pascal.
There's so many inappropriate.
What do you think about that, Brian? I like that kind of. That's an interesting way to do it. All right, so Lewis and Rachel with Ellie. So we still have the family, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They come home, And are they moving into this new house in Maine? I assume we're still going with Maine. We'll just keep that.
I kind of thought Brian was going to cut the Maine out because he wasn't feeling the accent. But
well, it is Stephen King, so I mean, you better be careful to get lynched if you cut it out of Maine. So they move in. Do you still go with the road, the same thing where you've got this road with the crazy trucks, Brian? You think? Still keep the main road? Because that's a big part of the book. We're trying to keep it in line with the book some and also have enough of our own spin to make it something different. We don't want to. We don't have to change too much. We don't have to change things just to change them. I mean, I'm just asking if that would make sense.
Could we do a train?
A train works for me.
Some sort of, whether it's some sort of a transport train, transporting people or materials, whatever. It's because that struck me the other day thinking about this. It's like, how can we change this up a little bit? Because I have trains all around my neck of the woods, and I mean they blow by all the time.
Right.
So of course,
we've had some accidents here with trains too, so I could see that. Yeah. And if I know this sounds really terrible, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from it. I don't want the kid to die because it makes me really, really sad, but I think it adds so much to the movie that he still kind of needs to get hit by the train.
I don't think anybody's going to be sad because he has to get hit by the train. Or by whatever it is, he needs to get hit. That kid's got to die.
It could be done nicer, not
for the better, really nicer.
He dies in his sleep or something. I don't know.
Was it done? Could it be done any nicer than it was in the first movie where he comes out pristine? Because that kid is just the Rock of Gibraltar. He is not tinted at all. He's got a little cut. I guess
Harry Potter has more than he does.
I know, Harry Potter's scar is a little more visible than poor Gage's scar. That's funny. Okay, so you're saying go train. Now, are you saying that because you want to make a switch, or because you think it actually makes more sense?
I'm just throwing it out there as a possible replacement to if you want to do something different than the trucks.
It makes more sense too, because
why do you think it makes more sense?
Okay, you're telling me
I'm just telling you because this is a very classic book. We got to explain our choices because I don't want hate mail.
Okay.
Mostly, I don't want to read it.
Because I feel like after so much time and so many people are dying or so many animals are dying that they have an entire cemetery devoted to it because semis don't want to slow down, that there's going to be at least one cop who wants to pull a semi over, or they're going to install maybe a red light or something.
It does make sense. Yeah.
But a train, you're not going to be able to restrict it as much. They can't, I mean, semis can't just slam on their brakes and prevent killing something, but a train is going to have even more of a hard time doing it. Otherwise, they're going to derail.
Because there's a forest that is right around a corner, and so the horns it actually confuses as to how far away it is because the forest blocks out part of it. So when the train whips around the corner, you don't always see it until it's too late.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, granted, you should stay away from the tracks because smart people do that, but not everyone's.
4 or 5 year old kids are not smart.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, you're passing through a heavily wooded area, a dog or a deer or fox or cat, whatever,
and they're
comes running out. They're not going to, the train's just going to keep going. Mm-hmm. They're not going to try to brake or nothing. And by the time that thing does stop, after a mile's worth of train just ran over whatever, carcass is left over, you ain't going to be able to tell what it was anyway.
Gage is not going to be able to come back with just one little cut this time.
Oh, it's Hollywood. He will too. He'll come up just fine. He's like, wow, you are a handsome little boy for being hit by a train.
He was super cute too.
He was super cute. Aww. All right, so how do we do that? You got the family. We're changing to a train, which makes sense because this book was written 30 years ago.
Trains were more prominent.
Well, I think trucks running rampant were more prominent back then. And so that made more sense. There weren't as many stoplights and traffic issues and whatnot. So I could see that.
Yeah, now that somebody would install a stoplight or a stop sign, something.
So how do we, Judd, if you really like that idea, what do you mean when you say guardian? Are you basically saying he's not necessarily appointed by the Lord?
No, he's not like the last witch hunter that says, okay, look, this is your role in life. But he knows enough about it, and he's seen whether it is Johnny bringing back his dead dog, and he's maybe he's done it himself, whatever the case is. He knows that's a bad thing. Nothing good ever comes from somebody reanimating their loved one, their pet, whatever the case is.
Okay.
So it's almost like a self-appointed, you know what?
I'm going to look out for other people.
I'm going to look out for it. Yeah, I ain't moving anywhere. I'm going to kind of keep tabs on it. And that house has been empty for so long. Now somebody's in it. They seem nice. I'm just going to look out for them.
So now, do you think because if we go that route, which I'm okay with, because I always thought it was a little ridiculous that Judd would ever tell him about this when he knew the evil that came out of it, which he did in the book and in the movie. He knew the evil because you had what was the kid that died before?
Timmy?
Maybe it was Timmy, maybe whatever his name was, that came back and started eating people. And ended up burning down in the house with his dad. He knew that it brought back evil, and even his dog didn't come back right.
Right.
What I think, I like your idea, Brian. He's a self-appointed guardian, and when Lewis's cat dies, or when Ellie's cat dies, he goes to bury him in the pet cemetery and just goes a little bit beyond that because he sees that there's more there or whatever, and buries him. And then the cat comes back unbeknownst that he didn't know it was like going to resurrect the cat, kind of thing. And that's when Judd can tell him what it really does and warn him about, you just messed with, your cat's not, he could tell a story then, as opposed to, here, let me show you exactly where this crazy burial ground is so you can bring back things from the dead. But don't bring back people, because that'll suck.
Yeah, I'm going to take you a couple of miles back here in the woods. We're going to hike for half a day, and we're going to climb this mountain.
It's just
and I'm
a
going to show you
little
this
bit
Indian burial ground, just so I can show you what not to do.
Don't spend your entire day getting all the way out here, because I don't want you to come out here, but I'm going to show you exactly how to get here. We're going to hike. Just put on your boots. We're going.
Exactly.
We're almost there. It's just a little bit further.
So the sister is still a part of this, right? And we're using her to illustrate death.
Oh, I've totally got a weird idea for her.
Oh, I'm listening.
What if we bring her, because they brought her, actually showed her more at the end, towards the end of the movie, and she was like, "B, I'm gonna come get you."
Mm-hmm. Give her a little musical number?
No, I don't need her singing.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my dog.
Hello, my ragtime gal.
What if she's introduced a little bit earlier, so then it kind of gives a little bit of a preface to Rachel's character too, but then also she's previously buried out there or something. Like the family was like, get rid of this lady, and they got rid of her, shipped her out to
Holy crap, that's an evil idea.
I know, but then she comes back and she starts attacking too, and she's like, Rachel, I'm gonna get you, I told you I'd get you.
Oh, I don't know about that one, because I mean, when does her sister die? Is she like at the house?
Well,
too?
like, because they couldn't.
Everybody's just burying people in that cemetery.
They couldn't take care of her. Like, she was just getting to be too much or something, and maybe the family wasn't as cruel. They just it's still cruel. They just shipped her out to Maine because they're like, nobody's gonna go out to Maine. They have hospice out there, care centers or something.
I'm with you so far. I'm trying to figure out how we get to the pet cemetery.
Well, I mean, I didn't get that far, but maybe
maybe she's with them, but she doesn't have to go get buried. But she's like, that's maybe one of the first people Gage kills.
Okay, Gage can kill her. I mean, I don't care who kills her. I just want her to come back and be creepy.
Oh,
she was super creepy. I want her to come back and try and kill somebody.
I think I see where you're kind of going there. I kind of envision it. You just see her maybe just laying in bed. You don't really see how deformed she is, and then midway through you kind of see her maybe a little bit more, and then just before she dies, and then she comes back and she's really freaky, scary, twisted.
Yeah, and she's like, you stopped feeding me, like, I'm gonna get you. If somebody took away my food, I'd come after you. I mean, I'd haunt you from the grave.
You could even make the argument of, even since she was really probably the scariest part of this movie, you could even center it around her.
I think then you're getting too far away from the book.
Well,
I don't like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, you would get really. That's the problem. Is the whole books. I mean, it's not a problem.
The whole best-selling book that this entire movie is based
but
upon.
I mean, we still have to restrict ourselves a little bit. We can't just go off and create a whole different movie, because then we're gonna have a lot of hate mail come in. But if we did, we could totally make it, instead of Timmy or whoever he was the one who was buried and came back. Maybe the family, she died, and then the family.
Well, in the sequel, you can tell Timmy's story.
Yeah. And the family decides, okay, well, we're going to bury her and try this Native American Indian situation, and she, maybe she'll come back without her issues and she'll be healthy, and then she comes back and she's like, nah, you shouldn't have done it.
I don't know.
I don't care what you guys do with that. I just want you to bring her back and have her try and kill somebody.
You're really adamant
She
on this
creeped me out when I saw it. I don't get creeped out very often, but she creeped me out. I was like, ugh,
Well, one thing I do want the Wendigo to be a bigger part of it. So you actually feel like the demonic force is trying to mold Lewis to do these things. Like I could see the Wendigo or somehow leading Lewis down this path, so he knows that there's another pet cemetery beyond the pet cemetery. Not quite over a mountaintop, but somewhere a little bit past that pet cemetery, and there's some way to lead him there. Like I don't know how.
Not
quite
a blue light, blue illuminating light.
Yeah, not a blue neon light. Yeah, something like that. And I also think the dead coming back and messing with the living is a really cool part of the book. That if you didn't read it, it's a really cool part of the book because, and I can't remember which character did, but one of the characters that came back and basically knew that Judd's wife had actually had affairs with several of his friends, knew that he was really not a good man in certain respects. I mean, there's a lot of that, and it was really cool.
Or somebody comes back and starts bringing up about how Rachel wanted her sister dead the whole time and wanted to stop feeding her, and starts bringing up those secrets, and then that's when Rachel spills the beans like, oh, guess what? I really wanted my sister dead because she just grossed me out.
And then but you still want her in this house, don't you?
Yeah, if you guys, somebody can cut me at any point.
I can't. I don't have a cut left. I already used it.
Okay, Brian, you can cut. I can cut myself if you guys want me to. I just feel like because she creeped me out so much, and I feel like it would add more of the horror effect rather than just
Brian, do you like it?
Thriller. You can be honest. I won't cry. I have tissue.
Oh no, I don't give a damn about your feelings. I like the idea, but I don't.
Is there a different direction you would go with it?
It's like I want that, but I also like that idea that she never really touched anybody in the original.
She was just more subtle and eerie.
And yeah, just really, I mean, her running towards the camera still it gives me nightmares at this point. I don't know if I really need her to actually be the cause of death of somebody other than giving them a heart attack.
Amanda, you got to cut. You can make us do it if you want.
I mean, I don't care that much. It was just an idea I had. But if you guys don't think it's going to work, it's not going to work.
It's more. I think we're compromising. I think we're more nervous because of the book issue. But we can't be slaves to the book. If Brian, if you think this we could find a way to make it work, I'm all for it.
I don't care how you guys twist it, and I don't care if she actually completes her goal of murdering somebody. I just want her to have her shining moment to be extra creepy, because she was pretty creepy to me in this one, but I feel like there could be more with her. She doesn't have to have like a role throughout the entire film. Just one spot where she comes back and she wants to kill.
Hey.
I like that.
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. What about this? Oh, just an idea. I'm trying to get away from being slave to the book. Brian, you listening? Because this might really be awful. So she's caring for her sister, who she loathes. And everybody, Lewis knows it because she's so creepy, right? She's got spinal meningitis. It's not fair. She has a medical condition. If anybody's listening, you have it, make sure to get treatment, and I hope you're taking care of yourself. But this particular case, she looks creepy as hell.
She looks like the devil.
She looks like the devil. And she's in the house. And we've got Judd, who's he's basically our
ghost.
Ghost, whatever. Ghost whisperer. And but he a guardian or whatever, and he comes back, and instead of having Pascal, whatever the hell, thank you, Pascal. Instead of having him, we don't have a ghostly character. We have the sister that Rachel is terrified of, who actually comes to understand that there's an evil in that cat and there's an evil in those woods, but I can't do anything about it because I'm trapped. I'm stuck here. And so as she gets more and more aggressive, and she gets more and more
trying to let it out,
trying to let them know what she's trying to do good, but it comes across more horrific the harder and harder she fights at it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Kind of like combining two characters, kind of.
Yeah.
So she hated her sister, but she took her with because nobody else
Because her
would take
parents,
Yeah.
they obviously were ashamed of her because they kept her locked away, and they didn't
Right.
want her in her house anymore. So she's not dead, and her
Right.
sister has to take care of her because she's, her
Obligated.
husband is a doctor, which makes
Yeah.
sense because you have a doctor on staff all the time.
Ooh, you're enthusiastic. I see the
Oh.
passion.
Well, I think we're combining some ideas. So, and this might be better than the damn Stephen King book. What?
What? Hate? You said you didn't want to read hate mail. Then you're going to say something like that?
I hope he's not listening.
Yeah, Mr. King, I'm terribly sorry for his.
Yeah, King, please don't
overexuberance
listen to our
here.
podcast.
What do you think of that? I think that might work. That might
I
actually
like it.
work.
It makes sense. It makes more sense than where I was going. And she can be creepy.
Because she can't
I'm-
communicate.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She can't communicate. She can't just let it out that you guys
She's
are
like,
in danger. Yeah, she's just
weird.
like, oh,
Ugh.
and it just gets worse and
I can
worse.
just picture her or him. I'm sorry, Andy.
Oh, I like that. I like it. And you got one more person to kill at some point that Gage can kill. Again, that's a lot easier for a little kid to kill, I would think, than...
And maybe she's the first one that he would go after because he's like, shut up.
Well, instead of the
demons are
nanny
like,
or whoever it was that hung herself or whatever, I don't even
Oh, I
remember.
forgot about her.
Was there a reason for
Missy?
that?
No.
Missy. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't really do anything. I don't need
She
that
was
at all.
just, she was so sad. I
She was
wanted to
just
give her a
sad.
hug.
I think they were just trying to say, look, people are dying everywhere. It's so sad. Didn't come across that
Her
way.
hanging it sounded kind of realistic too, though, especially for back then.
Oh, man, it's horrific.
We could have Pac's sister, whatever, kill her or whatever. No, we'll just for Gage. Gage can kill him.
Wait, where are you
What?
at? I don't even know where
You're asking. You're saying we need somebody else to. We need another character to be killed off.
Oh, yeah,
right?
no, Gage can kill the sister. Yeah. Because she
Okay,
can't do
okay,
anything.
okay.
She can't
she's
go
just
anywhere.
kind of laying there.
And actually, you could draw it out a little bit where Gage isn't so, he comes back instantly homicidal, where Gage, comes
Weasels
back
his way in.
and smothers the sister originally at first so that she dies, and it seems like natural causes at first, when she was really just trying to warn them. And then then he turns into,
So we've got the
psycho
cat
Gage.
that kills Judd first, and he's the ghost, and he tries to warn people, but he doesn't die first because otherwise it defeats the point of the sister trying to say something. If we have Judd who can say
I
something.
don't need Judd the Ghost. If you want Judd the Ghost, we can have Judd the Ghost. But
I
I don't really want any
ghosts.
ghosts.
All right,
I don't really like the ghost thing.
no ghost.
That was the problem I had.
What
with
about you,
Paxson.
Brian? Do you want ghost or no
What?
ghost?
What if
I thought he was
What
going to say,
if
"What are you guys even talking about?"
Judd? It's not. This is just again. We're just spitballing here. What if Judd is the last one standing?
Because he's done it before or something. Or is Timmy even in this
He-
anymore?
Yeah, he knows what to expect. He knows. He knows the drill. Let's
He
say
knows
he's
the drill.
incapacitated somehow to where whatever he's in the
A
hospital.
walker.
He's out of the picture for the last act or something like that. Maybe after the credits, you see him sitting on his porch again
In a rocking chair.
in a rocking chair. He's got
Rocking.
his foot up or something like that. He's rehabbing or something.
And he sees somebody else
you
moving
see-
in.
Yeah, you see somebody else moving in, or the cleanup crews finally cleaning out the house with all the blood-stained walls and floors and everything else.
I'm okay with that. Kind of like, but he appears dead throughout the movie, but then you see him at the very
You just
end,
kinda-
like he made
yeah,
it.
you
Because
just-
you
yeah,
forget he went away to the hospital.
You know the cat attacks him. Maybe just cut away to
falls
a shot
downstairs.
that's kind of pulling
feels
away
like-
out the front door. You hear things falling, and much like me doing the cartwheel, things crashing. and stuff.
Crashing. Boom.
It just slowly keeps panning back, and then you just see the cat walk out. You just kind of assume he's dead. I mean, that may be a little cheap, a little lazy or something, but
Yeah, I like that.
kinda-
It's a nice little stinger. It's a nice little stinger.
Yeah, it's that thing again. He's that guardian. He knows what's coming. Even though the cat might have won that round, he's still the last one standing. Everybody else is dead again or something.
I like that.
I'm all right with it.
I like that. Any other ideas you people want to add?
No, that's all I had. Just the creepy sister.
Because everything else, are we good with everything else?
I think so.
Because we got to recap, and we've been all over the map in this episode.
Somebody
we
should have
had-
been writing it down.
I got it in my head, man. I got it in my head. You ready?
Okay.
All right. We're going to recant. You guys add in anything I forget as we go.
All
Okay?
right.
Whew. All right. Lewis and Rachel Creed, they moved to Maine, same place in Maine. They find a new place out there in the countryside, right across from Judd. And there's also train tracks behind them. They find out that they're, unfortunately, in this new location, the train, because of the way that it's a heavily wooded area, and sometimes the train comes around the corner and they don't always hear it until it's too late. So many animals have perished. They created a pet cemetery. They move in with their 2 children, Ellie and Gage. So we're going with the same kids. And they also have Rachel's sister, Zelda, who has spinal meningitis and is horribly creepy and probably played by a dude. Andy.
Trans is a thing now.
Yeah, we're guessing. Yeah, it's in.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, we'll have
Oh,
Caitlyn
I'm
Jenner
sorry,
play.
that was really inappropriate.
It's okay.
I'm on that team too. Like, well, not that team, but I mean, like, I'm an ally. Sorry, guys, forgot to tell you something.
Still in the practice squad.
All right, so they move in and they basically are taking her, and she's a nightmare to take care of. We don't have the Paxile character. That's gone. That's excised. Poof, gone. And what happens is Ellie's little cat runs out on the tracks, gets killed. The dad finds the cat, doesn't want Ellie to know about what happened because she's too young. So he goes to take the cat down to bury him in the pet cemetery, and forces somehow lead him to another cemetery beyond that. Not quite over a mountaintop beyond that, but just over the ridge kind of thing.
There's like a little pathway that's got like...
He sees enough illuminating that, like enough stones and stuff to catch his curiosity. Mm-hmm. And like maybe he gets to the pet cemetery and branches move or something and it moves aside. So that he's like, he thinks wind moves it and he's like, oh, what is that? And he takes the cat there and ends up burying it there. Cooler spot, whatever. The cat comes back. And then because Judd had seen the cat die, so he knew what was going on. And then once he sees that the cat is back, he knows that he had to have buried him in the other pet cemetery. So he goes and tries to explain what happened with Timmy and all these horrible things. Like, you can't bury, what happens is they come back wrong. I'm trying to keep an eye on this because of people doing such things, and you can't do that. Da 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 da. And so
the ground is sour.
The ground is sour. Yeah, it's whatever, all those crazy things. The man is soiled and spoiled and...
Soiled and spoiled? What is he doing? He's a 90-year-old man who...
Something like that.
Needs some Pampers.
So they basically, at that point, the cat comes back. It's very creepy. He's dealing with the cat and some craziness. And then Zelda starts acting out because she starts noticing that the cat isn't right. And is trying to let them know, like, I don't know how... There's got to be a way that she can... monologue that to us, like maybe there's an internal monologue that she can tell as a character or something.
Or what if she can? What if
we
she
just
can,
tell it by visual, like visual evidence?
She can get really creepy, but what if she like doesn't start? I don't know. What if she like writes it on a whiteboard or something? She's like, "Hey."
What if she talks normal to the fourth wall? She addresses the fourth wall like, "I'm trying to tell these sons of blankety blanks." Don't freaking do this.
Something.
And I can't get it out.
We'll leave that up to the director. Because
right.
Whatever.
We've got enough ideas.
We got enough ideas.
We help them plenty.
Yeah, visuals.
Maybe for the gag reel. I don't know. It might take you out of the spookiness of it.
Got it. And then Gage ends up getting hit by the train. Horrible accident. Kid's out playing in the backyard, starts playing on the tracks, doesn't notice the train comes, whoosh, knocks him out. And still in pristine condition because it's Hollywood and we don't want our children to look like bloody messes.
We can make ours look like a bloody mess.
So they bury him. Then you get Rachel and Ellie who go to be with their parents because she needs to get away from him. She can't take her sister, obviously, because of her condition. So Lewis agrees. I'm a doctor. Yeah. I'll stay with her. And then basically when she leaves, he digs Gage up, buries him in the pet cemetery. Gage comes back. Judd thinks he's going to do this. He's going to warn him or the police, whatever. And then Gage ends up in his house and he ends up seemingly killing him. Not actually killing him. Like he does the cut on the ankle because I think that would be a cool throwback, right? Mm-hmm. Have that cut on the ankle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he falls down the stairs or something and it pans to the back and you just hear screams and yells and you assume he's dead. Which is cool. That's an old Hollywood trick. And then Gage kills the sister. But does it subtly so Dad doesn't realize right away. And then he actually, I think, do you have some time where he actually spends with the Gage before Gage goes
I feel like it'll
homicidal?
Be a little bit more eerie for him to kind of like, you'll see him go back into the family and then they're like, holy crap, this actually worked. I can't believe this actually worked.
Maybe even take him into town and people look at him funny. They don't know what's going on. They've got no idea that he was dead.
You don't think somebody would piss themselves if they saw the kid that just got buried like a week ago?
Well, they wouldn't know that he got buried because the dad did it on his own.
Well, I guess we could decide that, right?
In his grief, he immediately rushed it to the graveyard.
Yeah, fresher the better.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
And the wife's you're way too crazy for me. I gotta go.
And she's got her own mental issues, especially with her sister. So she's kind of like, I don't know what on earth you're doing, but okay, I trust you. You're my husband. You're a doctor.
What brings mom back? Because I assume we're gonna have the same concept where Gage kills mom, and then dad kills Gage, and then also has to bury mom. I still think that's an important part of the book.
What if?
So what brings mom back?
That could be anything. I mean, that's
just gut, motherly instinct kind of thing.
Something was canceled. Whatever seminar she was supposed to go to was canceled.
Well, she was going with her parents.
There's a hurricane in Nebraska that she was supposed to go.
What if she's just coming back from her trip? She was only going to be gone for like a couple days or something, just flying out for the weekend or something.
But then Ellie would be with her too, the daughter.
Is it a daughter or is it a son?
Okay,
let's address that issue.
She enters her daughter in one of these little
daughter
pageants.
goes to stay with the grandparents for the weekend. She goes out there to take her daughter out there for the weekend, but flies back home.
Drives back home instead of flies.
Oh, yeah.
Drives like it's a 6-hour drive or something instead of a long flight.
Maine to
there we go.
To Chicago.
All right, and we got that solved. And then ultimately, does it end the same way?
And the
where
mom
she
get
comes back?
hung like Missy did?
Oh, no. Well, I guess Gage could. How's Gage going to hang his mom? He's a little kid.
I don't know. How is he going to slice somebody's ankle just right at the right spot and be creepy and do all this other stuff?
Yes.
We don't have to explain it, but it's just funny how all of a sudden you come back dead and you've got the strength of like 4 grown men. I mean, how did this kid hang his mother?
Well, he is possessed by a demon, so you do have that going for you.
Well, granted,
he has the help from other demons.
Oh, now we have a demon family hanging out. That's going too far off the reservation, I think. Mom dies. However you deem it, sure, fine. If there's a way he can string up a nice little noose, then that's great. And then we've got our same ending where dad buries mom and mom comes back and it ends with the darling, kind of like that was in the book. And I think that's a good ending. I think we got our movie, guys. Do you think we got a movie?
I think we got it.
Yeah.
Are you confident with this movie? Because Brian,
I'm confident Stephen King is jealous he didn't come up with these ideas himself.
I really don't think that's even possible. I can't wait to read these emails. So please let us know what you think at remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com, because there are some, I know how Stephen King fans are, because I'm one of them, and we take it seriously.
My name isn't Amanda. My name is Jamie.
Your name is Zelda.
Or something. Yeah, my name's Zelda.
Okay, and we have decided off air there was a time you just didn't hear it. We did discuss this. We just didn't want you to bog you down with more yapping.
Right. It's another 45 minutes later after much fighting and bloodshed.
Yes. If there was a Wayne's World, you'd hear. Our director is James Wan, who did The Conjuring and Saw. We've got James Wan. He's our director. And we have cast 2 roles. We have cast Lewis and Rachel. Lewis is going to be played by the mentalist Simon Baker. You guys remember him? Brian, tell them real quick why.
He can do a good range of emotions, but also he can pull off that arrogant, confident, conceited doctor who has the selfish tendencies that his character has in both the book and the well, a little bit. You don't see so much of it in the movie, but I think he can pull that off very well.
We're going to see it in our movie because it's our movie now. And for Rachel, we have Vera Farmiga. And you know her, she's been in The Departed, she's in Bates Motel, she's been in a lot of The Conjuring, she's very well known for The Conjuring. She is an actress that can cover pretty much any emotion you got ready, and so we're looking forward to that. Now, when it comes to Judd, who is our old, obscure horror or TV actor that we need to cast, this is where we're going to leave it up to you guys. We want to hear who you want to pick. Who do you think should be our Judd, our gatekeeper, I guess, as Brian calls him, or whatever. Who would you pick? Email us, remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. It's remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. Really curious who you guys think should be Judd. So, and if you've got other casting suggestions for Lewis and Rachel, we'll hear those too. But Judd is the one that we are going to let the audience pick. So we can't wait to hear what you guys thought. Whew, I think we got a movie, guys. Are you ready?
Woo!
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I think we're almost ready to hear our final pitch. So let's hear one more clip from the original movie, and let's move to the final pitch.
First I played with Dad, then Mommy came, and I played with Mommy. We played, Daddy. We had an awful good time. Now I want to play with you.
Oh, that kid. Exactly.
Are you guys cold?
I am a little chilly. A little chilly.
Nope, just got the heebie-jeebies.
All right, guys, well, it's time for our final pitch. And this is where we summarize our movie based on everything we just talked about and present it to you in movie trailer form from renowned voiceover artist Wayne Henderson. He's going to give it to us. He's on mediavoiceovers.com. Wayne, please tell us our movie is fantastic. I want to hear the trailer. Here's Pet Sematary.
Having had enough of city life, Dr. Lewis Creed decides to move his wife Rachel, their young children Ellie and Gage, and Rachel's little sister Zelda across the country to the sleepy little town of Ludlow, Maine. Their journey begins tranquil enough as they settle into a quieter world with their friendly neighbor Judd helping them adjust. Aside from the occasional train zipping by in the field behind them, the Creeds' new life is one of peace and joy, and then tragedy strikes. After Ellie's beloved cat Church is accidentally killed by a speeding train, Lewis innocently attempts to bury her pet where she may never know. Unfortunately, something wicked has led Lewis beyond those gates, a hidden place where the dead come back. Church's return to the living sparks Judd to finally reveal the true secrets of the burial ground that lies just beyond the pet cemetery. If you bury your own here, they will come home, but they will always come back wrong. When Gage is also tragically taken by those same mean train tracks, Lewis selfishly ignores Judd's warning and buries Gage in the dirt that no human was meant to lie in. At first, Gage returning seems like a godsend. Lewis's only son has been given a second chance. But this is no longer the Creed's baby boy. He knows things that he shouldn't. He's slowly becoming a vicious animal, and everyone in his path is now at risk. Sometimes life is pain. Sometimes loss is tragic. And sometimes dead is better. Next Halloween, pay your respects to Stephen King's Pet Sematary.
Yes, I'm creeped out. I love
Stephen
it.
King's gonna be calling me.
Take my money now.
Oh, man.
Or cursing at us.
Yep, I got a feeling he's probably filing suit at some point. All right, guys, what do you think? Did we nail it, or do you think that we should be ashamed of ourselves and you have a better idea? If you've got a better pitch or email us your short pitch. Let's try to keep it a little smaller than the last one. And your thoughts on this week's show to remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. That's remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. We might mention your pitch on the next show. Please review us on iTunes. We really appreciate it. It really helps the show. So please do that if you can. And if you listen on Stitcher, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to put us in whatever podcast app you listen to. Tell your friends. Share this with your friends. Tell your friends to listen to Remake This Movie Right. This show doesn't grow if they don't know. I just rhymed. You're welcome. I want to thank Amanda for being here this week. Thanks for coming back on.
Thanks for letting me come back on.
You like doing this? You had fun?
It's interesting.
Wow.
I don't like it at all.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Wow, Brian. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Well, see if you get invited back. All right, Brian, how are you doing, man? Are you ready?
Man, I love this stuff.
I'm glad that you enjoy it and you have enthusiasm that she does not share. Because
Unlike Zelda over here.
Yeah. Nice job, Zelda.
Somebody just lock her in a basement. Oh, wait, y'all are already there.
Oh, man. And before we wrap up, I'm going to give you a teaser because there's actually not going to be a teaser buffer episode like there normally is. So we are going to give you a teaser for next week's episode if you guys are ready. Here you go. Here's a teaser.
This place. Steve should never have opened this place again. There's been too much trouble here. Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason. I was working the day that it happened, preparing meals. Here, I was the cook. Jason should have been watched every minute. He wasn't a very good swimmer.
Ooh, that's a good movie. Well, I don't know if it's a good movie, but it's going to be a great remake. I want to remind everyone to check out our great voiceover artist, Wayne Henderson, who does our trailers at mediavoiceovers.com. He also does Packers Fan Podcast. Be sure to check him out. He does some great work, and we definitely love and appreciate him doing that. Brian Williams, where can people find you, sir?
Find me on Twitter at BrianWMS.
All right. And Amanda, can people find you anywhere, or you're just not existent?
You can find me on Facebook, but...
If you can track her down, if you can find her, find that voice on Facebook, then...
It'll be a mission for you guys.
There you go.
You win nothing.
You don't get anything. Be sure to join our Remake This Movie Right Facebook group, as well as the Hollywood Outsider Facebook group for fans of movies and TV shows. It's a lot of good conversation. We love having people on there. And our Twitter handle is @RemakeRight, and our website is remakethismovie.right.com. That's going to do it for this episode of Remake This Movie Right. And the next movie you watch, remember that it will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better. Or ruin an entire best-selling novel. Whichever.